I grew up using Windows. I use Windows for school, for work, for gaming. But finally, after 20 years, I finally made the switch to a MacBook, and it completely changed my productivity and my happiness. I picked up this MacBook M1 Air, the base model, about 5 years ago, and one of the best things is the battery life. The battery life on this thing is amazing. Even after 5 years, I can go a whole day without having to charge the laptop. Compared to the Windows laptop, I would have to constantly be looking for a plug point that I could charge my laptop, or thinking about carrying an extra power bank. So with peace of mind, it's amazing. It's given me a lot of peace of mind. So I know that if I'm out and about, that it's going to last me a full day. Also, the build quality of the MacBook is amazing. It feels like a piece of jewelry. It doesn't feel like cheap. It doesn't feel plasticky. It just feels like a premium product. And I've taken good care of the laptop. It's very easy to look after. I think it comes down to keeping the screen clean. That can be one important aspect. But overall, with the battery life, it's amazing. The feel of the product just feels so much better. And even though the screen, I have the 13-inch, at first it felt quite small, but over time, I've actually gotten used to the size of the screen. And for me, it's perfect. Also, the ability to connect it to an external monitor is there, so you have that functionality. One of the downsides is the fact that because it's an Apple product, you have to go with the Apple peripherals. So sometimes if I want to connect an SD card reader, it's more common to find it as a USB. So I have lots of dongles that I can connect to the SD card reader to turn it into a USB-C to connect to the MacBook. This MacBook only has 2 connection points. So one is for the charger, if you are using the charger. So that limits you a little bit, but I also have an adapter which I can extend the laptop, so I can plug in my other peripherals into the laptop. The MacBook is just so smooth to use. That's one of the first things that I noticed about it. And even when I have to use a Windows laptop, it feels so frustrating. The experience is not good. And when I switch back to my MacBook, there's a sense of relaxation because everything just flows. It's buttery smooth, even when it comes to video editing. So I don't do any extensive video editing, as I think this can be a situation where you may need a more powerful MacBook. But on the whole, it does deal with the video editing that I do, and everything is just smooth. I can have my video editing software open, I can have my browser open with a couple of tabs, and nothing slows down. The other thing that I'm really happy about is not having to deal with constant Windows updates. Those things are a nightmare. Now, when it comes from being a Windows user going over to Mac, there is a bit of a learning curve, but it's not that big. Say, for example, you wanted to use Control-C, Control-V, you just use the Command key, Command-C, Command-V. And also having to hover down to see the floating bar to choose your application that you want. So when you hover down to keep your mouse there and then to choose your application. So for example, my wife doesn't really like Macs yet, And I think it's from just being a Windows user. For example, when you click on the start button, the start menu stays there and you're able to choose your application. Also, when it comes to using browsers. So I use the Safari browser, and you have the color coded system. And if you hover over the colors, it tells you intuitively what you should choose. But it's just the fact that things look and feel a little bit different. Also, the file system for some people can be a little bit confusing. I love the fact that I can quickly change between a list view and also a gallery view. And also just being able to tag your items with different colors. You have your own personalized color system. So for me, I didn't find that too much of an issue. Also, when it comes to using the screens and dragging the screens around, for me, it felt very natural. Although with Windows, I did like the ability to snap your screen onto the window and to have it perfectly 50-50. But you can also resize your windows very easily on the Mac. So for me, I would say that it may take you an hour or a few hours, I think, just to get used to everything. But once you start using a Mac, you will just see how easy it is. And if you are in the Apple ecosystem, even using things like AirDrop is fantastic. Sometimes it doesn't work that well with large files, but for smaller files, it's so quick and easy to transfer files. So for me, I found that using a Mac, and also the fact that there are no fans on this M1 Air, and it doesn't overheat. The other Windows laptop that we have in the house, you constantly feel it overheating, even though it's like a HP Pro. And you have to raise the laptop to allow it to cool and to get the fans working. So just the fact that it's just so light and you can just pick it up and just move everywhere around it. I think with a Windows machine, you can be less fragile though. So with a MacBook, I don't suggest picking it up from the screen, hold it by the base. But with a Windows laptop, they can withstand a bit more damage, especially the Lenovo ThinkPads. So if you have children or if you are traveling quite a lot, if you have a ThinkPad, which I've had before, these things are indestructible. But it's the Mac OS. And for me, if you have a good case, I have a very good case. So when I'm traveling, I can just throw it into the case and I don't have to worry about it getting damaged. So I found the whole experience to be so pleasant, and it helps my productivity because everything is seamless. I have run into a few issues where I have run out of application memory, but there's only been a few times, and this is when you are a heavy user. So in those cases, I would go for the MacBook Pro. I'm actually looking at some of the newer models, and they have started to entice me. But for now, this MacBook is doing everything that's needed of it. The webcam itself on this particular model isn't the best. You do look like a bit of a potato when you are using it, but from what I've researched, the M1 Pros onwards have better quality webcams, better quality resolution. So I would say that it's just something which is buy and forget for like 5 years at least. Buy something which has a lot of memory, also storage space. So I've had to buy a few external SDs Also, the Samsung ones are quite good, the miniature ones. And that's just because of video editing. The file sizes are quite big, so they take up a lot of memory. But it's just something which you would use every day. You can use it at your desk, go and lay down on the bed or your couch, take it to work, take it to a coffee shop. There's just that portability and that power that comes with it, I think is worth the price. So sometimes when you save a penny, you end up spending £1. I think this is the case with Windows, because even though you can save some money, you're spending your frustration and your anger and wasting your time when things are slow or if you have to do some Windows updates. So you are paying for that convenience and you're paying for that speed and that user experience. So for me, I've been won over by MacBooks. I'm not an official Apple fanboy yet because I don't have the latest iPhone or iPad or an Apple Watch. So you can let me know about those things. Are those things worth purchasing? How do you feel about being in the Apple ecosystem? Perfect. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you, and bye-bye.